every 4 years, it arrives. A sudden global weather event. A swirling collective fever takes over. The World Cup dominates everything. Offices grind to an absolute halt. Coworkers lost in bright colors. Important work is totally abandoned. The daily routine just stops. Grown adults cry in public, openly weeping without any apology. A dramatic flood of public grief, performing sorrow for the masses. Entire nations cease to function simply because a kicked ball narrowly missed a metal post. And the world holds its breath. Somewhere in this collective fever sits you, completely unbothered, reading quietly in the madness, finding your own peaceful center. Maybe you're slightly annoyed. Your feed is full of jerseys. Endless brackets are piling up. You block out the digital noise. People call you completely weird. They label you as cold, alienated from the eager crowd, penalized for simply opting out. They look with genuine concern, searching you for an anomaly. Like disinterest is a medical symptom, checking you for a strange apathy. But psychology points the other way. Your brain isn't wired wrong. It operates on different logic, pointing toward your own true light. Why care about strangers kicking? You have literally zero control, yet millions feel they won while sitting safely on their sofas. Proximity to victory feels like ownership, basking in their reflected glory, using groups to manage our self-esteem. The human ego is highly opportunistic. When the team wins, we say we, but when they lose, the language shifts. We say that they played poorly. The ego quietly sidesteps the wreckage. Fandom provides a psychological scaffolding, satisfying the ancient tribal instinct, the deep human need to belong. You haven't lost this deep desire. You've just built your scaffolding elsewhere, inside a vibrant creative community, a group where you feel genuinely known, refusing a prepackaged vehicle for belonging. Uncertainty creates a sustained anticipation, acting just like a spinning slot machine. The brain hooks on intermittent reinforcement, exploiting the exact mechanics of gambling. But this requires a prior attachment. Without identity, there are absolutely no stakes. The uncertainty just doesn't feel compelling. It's like watching a coin flip. The World Cup amplifies the pressure. It becomes your country and your flag. Identity made physical by 11 strangers. For some, this framing is much weirder. You didn't choose where you were born. You have a complicated relationship with it. The emotional arithmetic simply doesn't land. A flag cannot hold all that messiness. Feeling personal grief for strangers is new. A modern product of mass media. A one-sided parasocial emotional illusion with absolutely no real historical precedent. Your attachment system isn't wired wrong. It's simply found somewhere else to be, finding the exact thing that lights you up. And that was always the whole point. You are closer to our baseline, sitting peacefully while the world panics, a quiet center amidst modern chaos, responding exactly how humans were built. This intense connection is highly modern, a tiny sliver of human history, born alongside global television broadcast rights, existing only since color TV arrived. But true fans gain something real. It builds their self-esteem up. It drastically lowers their daily loneliness, providing a deep sense of meaning. Fandom acts as a social lifeline, keeping people afloat in dark times, connecting islands of human hearts together. And that shouldn't be completely dismissed. There is an identity that fits, feeling the genuine highs of victory and the low hum of loss, getting something very real from it. But then there is the faker, performing a grief they don't feel, because opting out seems socially costly. They are just incredibly, deeply exhausted. Apathy is an indifference to everything. Your lack of interest is specific. Your brain is not wired wrong. Your attachment system is simply elsewhere. Yet modern brains still struggle deeply with sleep that doesn't fix anything, with a focus that keeps slipping through endless nights and tangled thoughts. We live with an anxious mind that treats stillness like a threat, fighting the quiet instead of resting, panicking whenever the noise finally stops. It's time to build daily actions to fix your dopamine and sleep. Find what actually lights you up, because that was always the point. Millions yell at their screens, trying to change the physics, but you have zero control. It is an absolute illusion. People use groups for self-esteem, saying we when they win, sidestepping the wreckage of losing, basking in deeply reflected glory. You haven't lost the drive, the deep need to belong. You built your scaffolding elsewhere, finding a world you love. Sports act like slot machines, hooking brains on pure uncertainty. Intermittent reinforcement keeps them locked, but you walked away completely. A flag cannot hold everything. The emotional arithmetic feels weird. You didn't choose your birthplace. You see the whole globe. This attachment is highly modern, a one-sided parasocial illusion created entirely by mass media, a relationship that isn't real. Borrowing identity is incredibly heavy, performing grief because it's expected. The social cost feels high, but it leaves you exhausted. Your indifference is not apathy. Apathy is caring about nothing. Yours is a specific signal pointing toward your true passions. Your brain isn't wired wrong. Your attachment system works perfectly. It has simply moved elsewhere, building something truly uniquely yours, finding what actually lights you up, embracing what makes you glow, because that was the point. It was always the point. In 1976, we learned why. Students wear gear after a win, basking in someone else's reflected glory, taking ownership of a stranger's victory. The human self is highly opportunistic. When they win, we say we, but losing shifts the language quietly. The ego dodges the emotional wreckage. Your tribal instinct hasn't simply vanished. You just built your scaffolding differently, inside a deeply connected creative community, refusing a strange prepackaged vehicle. Anticipation lights up the brain's circuitry, hooked on the unpredictable near miss, waiting for a resolution that stalls. It mimics the pull of gambling, but without a prior emotional stake. The uncertainty completely loses its hook. The outcome feels entirely emotionally flat, like watching a simple coin flip. Nationalism amplifies this pressure even further, tying victory to a messy geography. But the emotional arithmetic doesn't land. A flag cannot hold those complexities. This parasocial bond is extraordinarily new, created by global television broadcast rights, a completely one-sided modern emotional illusion without any real ancient historical precedent. True fans find a shared meaning, but faking it is deeply exhausting, crushed by the heavy social cost, performing a grief you don't feel. Your indifference is not absolute apathy. It is a very specific signal. Your attachment system functions perfectly well. It just found somewhere else to be. But modern brains still deeply struggle, treating quiet stillness like a threat. It's time to reclaim your focus and find what truly lights you up. The world is swept into a storm, but you remain perfectly safe and dry. watching the chaos crash against the glass. Completely untouched by the roaring cultural weather, many desperately chase a borrowed golden trophy, wearing masks to feel a false glory. But you chose a quieter, earned peace. Refusing to hide inside a borrowed costume, you built your own warm, creative space, assembling the pieces of your own world, surrounded by those who genuinely know you. This is your true, alternative, psychological scaffolding. You unplug the brain's loud slot machines, refusing to play the nervous game of chance, stepping away from the anxious dopamine rush, because to you, it's just a coin flip. Nationalism tries to tie you in knots, drawing arbitrary borders on a spinning globe, but you easily block out the noise, letting the heavy parade pass right by. This parasocial grief has no historical roots, an illusion born purely from broadcast television, a one-sided string tying hearts to screens. You see right through the glowing glass. True connection carries a genuine warm light, but performing fake grief is deeply exhausting. You don't have to carry that weight. You chose to water something beautifully real. This is absolutely not a quiet apathy. It is a vibrant, highly specific signal, catching the stars that actually matter most, tuning your frequency to your true passion. Now, calm your panicked and vibrating mind. Gently catch the focus that keeps slipping. Clear away the anxious, sleepless modern noise, and embrace stillness as a peaceful retreat. Reclaim your days with simple daily actions. Step completely out of the chaotic overload. The link to the guides is below. Subscribe now and find your true center.